Welcome back to another video from the Debate Room podcast. This is our NBA trade deadline episode. It was a weird trade deadline. A lot of trades. There were some really big ones. So we got some exciting stuff to talk about, and also some really under the radar moves that were really weird. Namely, the Bulls. I thought they would get these guards off the roster by the time the trade deadline was over, but they literally still have like 10 guards on the roster. The Bulls is weird. We saw rebuilding teams trade for big stars and kind of accelerate their timeline. So it was a really weird trade deadline, a lot of weird moves that happened. And we're going to talk about some of that weirdness, some of the action-packedness on this video. So make sure you guys like the video, share the video, and in the comments, tell us your favorite move from the NBA trade deadline that you think will be, have impact the most, or the most impactful move this trade deadline season. We can get right into it, man. Let's get right into it. The Harden trade was probably the biggest of the deadline. The Clippers traded James Harden to the Cavaliers, and then surprisingly, Darius Garland was traded to the Clippers. I guess not surprisingly for some of us, because I guess KD predicted this. But this was something not a lot of people saw coming in terms of these two players getting swapped for each other. And then I forgot it was a reporter for the Sports Illustrated reporter. He beat out Shams. Chris Mannix. Yeah, Chris Mannix.
Don't you work for Sports? Shouldn't you know that? You a SI employee. Like, what's going on here?
Chris Mannix reported that the talks were in the advanced stages, and then we saw the Shams report. But let's just start with our general reaction. What does this mean for both teams? Let's start with the Cavs, obviously, because I think they're the more relevant team this year. Who do we think won the trade? I'm gonna go with KD first.
Won the trade? I mean, in the long run, it's probably the Clippers, just because you get 10 years younger. You get a guy who was an all-star last season, and there's no reason to believe that if he's healthy, he can't still be a similar level. Problem is just health. But for the Clippers, who are now entering a rebuild, I think that is as good as you were going to do for Harden, is get like a guy who's like 25, I think Darius is, and was an all-star last year. Again, you're buying low on his value, which is like smart, and you're selling high on Harden. That's what you want to do always. So it's, for them, I understand why they did it. It sucks for Clippers fans because they were like on a roll. The Clippers team as a whole, they were probably a shoo-in to make the playoffs. Who knows what would have happened when they got there, but it's probably a shoo-in to make the playoffs. On the Cavs side of things, I think in the now was a great move. Darius Garland, he has his issues, hasn't been healthy all season, usually isn't healthy come playoffs, and when he's never actually showed up in the playoffs. Say what you want about James Harden in the playoffs, it's still James Harden. Like it's still James Harden at the end of the day. Like he's better than Garland. In terms of right now, like the Cavs I don't want to say they're spiraling because they had won a few games, but if like the season compared to last season has felt like a spiral. So it's, you inject some like new talent, a guy who's going to be on the floor. Like that's like one thing for Harden. He's an Iron Man, and I think he fits pretty well. It's Donovan Mitchell's going to have to go back to how he was last season, not putting up 30 a game. It's going to have to be that more like I'm taking the offense when it's coming to me type of thing. Let Harden get his. But Harden's played with Chris Paul. He's played with Russell Westbrook. Like he's played with Kyrie, KD. Like he's played with dang near every like type of all-star you could imagine. So I think the fit will be fine, and the fit with Mobley and Zubac and Jared Allen is perfect for Harden. Like you can't really ask for more in terms of that. So this is one of those cases I think is a win-win trade, like for both sides, especially for the Cavs. Like money-wise, they needed going into this summer. They needed to somebody was gonna have to go money-wise, because you couldn't be paying the money they were paying to Spida, Mobley, Garland, and Jared Allen. Now it's like you have Harden, you can bring him back, see what he wants, and see like what you're willing to give him. But they have a lot more flexibility on their end to do what they want.
Talk to me, Q.
I'm on the same wavelength as you. I think they both win. Uh, everything you said about the Clippers in terms of like money, you get younger, which they needed to do. We talked about it last when Max had wanted, I guess, to try to trade them for whatever bullshit draft picks you get. Excuse my language, but I had said you don't get better like that. That's not their avenue. Their avenue, since they don't have no picks, get the young star player. They got the young star player. You know what I'm saying? So that's fine. Obviously, we're gonna talk about it later. They moved off Zubac, but you get a pick in return. So they're kind of looking like, okay, we can finally pivot to the future, like and ease it in for the Cavs. Like you said, things were a little rocky early on. It just wasn't the same. Vibes were off. The wins weren't coming how they thought. There was close battle, a whole lot of things, and then obviously the apron and the money stuff was looming over. But I think they did. I think they're at exactly where they are. I think they're actually a little bit better now because of that. Trading off DG, getting back James Harden. Even if you want to at worst call it a net negative, like just whatever, it stayed the same. I think with conjunction of getting Schroeder and Keon Ellis, that adds to the team. That makes it a more complete unit. And I think they could actually try to really compete because they didn't look like they were going to be able to do that. They were going to get to the playoffs, probably win around, but that's when things would have got sticky. I think they have a better shot now, especially with Keon. You got before you even traded Harden, you get another ball handle, but you got James Harden, Dennis, and Donovan Mitchell. You got Keon to lock up, point of attack. Still got your two centers back there. So I think they're straight for this season and the next season if they got to rearrange some stuff on the books or whatever the case may be. But I think they both made out fine.
As much as I love Darius Garland, and he is one of my favorite players in the NBA.
He's from your hometown too.
Yeah, come on, bro. As much as I love Darius Garland, he's one of my favorite players in the NBA. I love what he did for Cleveland. He was the first piece of turning Cleveland around after LeBron left. He just couldn't stay healthy.
Oh, well, don't disrespect Colin Sexton like that.
Yo, bro, we gonna talk about Sexton. That wasn't a thing.
Disrespect Colin Sexton like that. That's 86 guy. Don't do that.
I think this was an excellent move for the Cavaliers. It helped them get under. Well, not get under. It helped their cap sheet a lot, a lot. It was going to be very hard to pay Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, and Evan Mobley. And James Harden, his contract expires a lot sooner. He'll be cheaper as well. And frankly, James Harden is clearly better than Darius Garland right now. Not only is he available, but he's extremely impactful. He was extremely impactful for the Clippers. He's had a history of being an Iron Man, even through his older age. And he's still been impactful over the last few years, even though he's not at his MVP level. He's going to be very impactful for Evan Mobley, getting touches for sure, even more than Darius Garland is. James Harden has a history of just maximizing his bigs, maximizing his pairings, and he's one of the most portable and scalable superstars, to be honest, ever in terms of just playing with other star players. And that's kind of crazy to think about because of how much he dominated the ball earlier in his Houston tenure. But in the immediate future, the Cavaliers get much better with this move and the Keon Ellis move and the Dennis Schroeder move. Now, it's the downfall of the move is that in terms of going forward, James Harden is going to be out the league sooner rather than later. But in all reality, this is probably the Cavs' either last run or second to last run anyways. I don't think Donovan Mitchell is going to re-sign here again if they're continuously failing in the playoffs. And this iteration of the Cavs, the Big Four, had reached its end. It did not work. So they need to shake something up, and they shook something up while becoming cheaper and improving the team in the short term. So yes, it's not James Harden is not a great move for the long term, but again, he's going to maximize. He's going to maximize Evan Mobley, who he's not the face of the franchise because that's Donovan Mitchell, but I think that Donovan Mitchell will be going before Evan Mobley. If someone's going to leave, it's probably going to be Donovan Mitchell. I
mean, he's 29 going on 30, so yeah. It just makes sense.
Evan Mobley is the cornerstone of your franchise, so you want a player that can to maximize him and help him maybe take another leap in his career.
Cornerstone, that's a big word.
Yes. In terms of the Clippers, again, like you guys said, this is a great return for 37-year-old James Harden on a damn near expiring contract. Getting Darius Garland, who I think is a excellent offensive player when he's healthy. When he's healthy part is a really big concern. But going into a rebuild and not having that many draft assets, getting a player like Darius Garland with his talent level is you cannot beat that whatsoever. That's very, very smart GMing by was it Lawrence Frank? I think. I also want to say, like, I've been thinking about this lately, and people were talking about this on like draft Twitter. Players that got hurt in college have a very, very bad history of like just continue to get hurt in the NBA. Like
when you get hurt early, you get hurt often. That's always like usually the term. You can't. It's hard for you to like suffer, serious injuries early and just think like it's just never gonna happen again. You already started the trend, going on now.
You think about it, like Darius Garland got hurt. He didn't play his freshman year. He played 5 games. Kyrie got hurt as well. Joel Embiid hurt. Like,
good for your boy.
I know. Ben Simmons hurt. Well, no, he didn't. I'm sorry, he didn't get hurt. He got hurt early in his career. But
he just sucked.
No, he didn't. But anyways, getting hurt in college is not a very good indicator of, or getting hurt early in your career is not a very good indicator of future development. But yeah, I think the Cavs, they got better with this trade. James Harden is the Clippers were 8 points better with him on the floor than off. I'm interested to see how him and Donovan Mitchell compare together. Donovan has been better about like actually like getting off the ball this year and like moving off the ball. I think this is probably his best season as an all-ball player, honestly. And I think that James Harden is also he's not good off the ball, but he's powerful off the ball. He can play off the ball. He's done it before. So also a big thing about this is you don't have this super small backcourt anymore. Like James Harden obviously isn't a great defender, but like
220, 230.
Yeah, he has good hands. So I think that like getting James Harden with his size, along with Keon Ellis, and Dennis Schroeder, who's a scrappy defender as well, is gonna make the perimeter defense on the team, which has been terrible for like the last 18 months, much better. So yeah, I think the Cavs. I'm gonna talk about them in my winners later, but listen, man, they're going to the finals. I'm being serious. They're going to the finals.
Yeah, just like the Wizards in a few years, they get DP. You're going to the finals.
The Cavs are going to the finals. The Cavs are going to the finals, man. I'm trying to tell you, the Cavs are going to the finals.
It's ridiculous, bro.
That's crazy to say. That's not crazy to say.
It's not crazy. The East sucks, bro.
It's the East
sucks. Let's move on to this was a shocker, probably the most shocking move. Most shocking move of the trade deadline. Anthony Davis traded to the Wizards. That came out of the left field. Nobody even knew that they were interested in him. We knew he probably would be moved. We didn't know what his market would look like. They didn't give up much at all. Basically, like second round picks, late first round picks for Anthony Davis. And now he joins Trae Young. So I want to start here with the Wizards first. Obviously, what do you make of this new Anthony Davis, Trae Young, and then their young talent? Like, what do you make of this iteration of the Wizards going forward? How do you feel about the move? Let me start with you.
Everything I'm gonna say, I'm gonna preference with the asterisk, assuming health. Obviously, we were talking about Anthony Davis and Trae Young to an extent. I guess they were same thing with the Jazz. I think they were looking at it. It was a time to start trying to take things serious, and they both the Jazz and the Wizards, even though they traded for big name players, whatever the case may be, that doesn't mean they're playing them right away because they're still trying to hopefully keep their pick so they can add a top prospect to the core they got right now. On paper, Trae Young with Anthony Davis 5 years ago, dream pairing, lob threat, play finisher, anchor of a defense. Trae Young, he's going to be one of the best playmakers. He's going to be able to put up points. Probably a lesson to load now. He probably hopefully gains up his efficiency since he doesn't have to do too much. Between Anthony Davis and Alex Sarr, you should have a great defensive front court, along with Bilal and things like that to help you along. Got some shooters there. Hopefully, if they get a top 5 pick, they're looking to add a DP, the AJ and Cam to the roster to have a nice solid foundation and hopefully start winning games. I don't think they're going to win a finals. I don't think they're going to get to a finals. I don't think every all teams' goal is to win a championship. Sometimes you got to take it in steps. Maybe they're trying because it's the Wizards, it's DC. they haven't really been a great like free agent destination because they usually don't have like great star players. But if you have a John Wall there, you might be able to get somebody to come there. You got at the time, I guess, Gilbert Arenas. You might be able to get somebody to come there. You got Trae Young and Anthony Davis. Hopefully, let's just call it AJ DeBanza. After they win for a couple years, whatever the case may be, you could pivot to AJ, and hopefully some people want to play with AJ once Trae Young and Anthony Davis out. You're just trying to hopefully make yourself a serious outfit to make other people try to come play there. So I think that's what they were doing. If that's the plan, sure. And in the short term, compete, win some games, hopefully make the playoffs, win a series or two, just to get things lively and like people don't lose their jobs because if you lose 3, 4, 5 seasons in a row, you're gonna lose your job. So I guess they're just trying to like change the narrative right now, and that's a win in my opinion. Anything other than that, I don't think it's in the cards of winning a finals, going to the finals even. But they had the money to spend. They didn't really give up too much. They gave up least valuable picks. They dumped salary between both their big trades. They just dumped salary, and and have the semblance of like they're gonna be a serious team start next year once they added that premium prospect. That's just what it looks like from now on. Like I said, I don't know how perfect it's gonna be, but I just think like assuming health, that's just their plan of action just for the future.
For me, I understand the idea of you don't have to give up a lot to get former all-star caliber players. AD probably still an all-star caliber player. You don't have to give up a lot to get these players, so you do it. I think that this move was head scratching for me, is because like, what does Anthony Davis actually do for you, right? What does 33-year-old Anthony Davis actually do for you? Now, I understand that he didn't cost a lot. I understand that he's still a pretty good player, but one, Anthony Davis does not play a lot whatsoever. He is very, very, very injury prone. You add that with Trae Young, who's also been injury prone over the last 3 or so seasons. And on paper, like you said, this pairing will look great. Like 3 years ago, it would look amazing. You can get excited about it, but both of these players have been regressing over the last few seasons, right? Both of these players, even in the East, at best, probably get you a playoff appearance. Is that worth potentially stunting the development of some of the prospects on this team, namely Alex Sarr? Like, I really have a question. Like, how does getting Anthony Davis affect Alex Sarr's development, who's taken a lot of steps this season? Especially because, like, who's going to play the 4? Who's going to play the 5? Is he going to take shots away from him? I think I was more in on the Trae Young portion of this because Trae Young, I think he can help players develop with his playmaking and ability to create quality shots for players. I don't think he actually takes a lot. I don't think he takes a lot of development away from some of these players on his roster. But Anthony Davis, I'm not sure I can say that. Also, in terms of this pairing with Trae Young and Anthony Davis, it sounds good on paper, but it could be not great whatsoever on the actual court because we know Trae Young is a pick and roll heavy player, but Anthony Davis is not that great of a roller anymore. He's just not. And the reason he's not that great of a roller anymore is because he takes so many mid-range shots, and it's insane. He's not a good mid-range shooter. Instead of rolling towards the basket, he loves to settle in that mid-range area and shoot those mid-range shots where he's not good at. This year, he has been a 28 percentile roller. 2025, he was 76 percentile. 2024, he was 57 percentile. 2023, 87 percentile. 2022, 35th. 2021, 45th. Then at 87, 29th. Like, he's been an inconsistent roller in terms of his actual efficiency.
He played with Ryan Nembhard, gang. What you want him to do? He played with Ryan Nembhard. What you want him to do?
He played with Bron in 2024.
Bron in 2024. Let's be real, bro.
Bron was playing with Bron in 2022, 2021. Like that.
Bron was 38, bro. Who's Bron, bro?
Like, I'm not like.
I think it's clearly still. He will easily be a good roller with Trae. Like, I don't have.
I don't think he doesn't maximize what he could be as a roller because of those mid-range shots. I personally think that.
Yeah. But I mean, he's
I understand what you're saying.
Roller, no, but
I don't think it's causation or correlation. I think like those are just two different things.
Yeah, he hasn't had
I
point
understand,
guard.
I understand just Sar, the point about Sar, who's having a great year. Like obviously, who they both have a issue, I guess, with playing the 5 or the 4. I don't know, whatever it is, but if the only way it works, one of those players has to become a very good shooter. Sar is the one to be in that.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad. Yeah, like unless Sar gonna have to up his 3-point volume because he stopped shooting threes as much last year as last year, this year, and it helped his development. Now he's probably gonna go towards the opposite end of that again. If they extend these players, if they extend Trey and AD, I actually hate it because those guys shouldn't be getting paid max money at this point. Like,
yo, this is the same guy who said that they make
I thought about it.
Blown away by this like complete 180. Truly,
I was caught in the moment, right? I was caught in the moment.
Yeah, we clipping that. We clipping that for sure.
I was caught in the moment. I don't think that this move is going to like interrupt their draft stock, and depending on who they draft, they can be a great team next year. But I'm not sacrificing development of Darren Peterson, AJ Durant, Cameron Boozer, Kingston Flemings, whoever you draft for Anthony Davis. They bet if they extend them, this looks really bad. Personally, I think.
Before you go, KD, this is like a watered down version of like what the Mavericks tried to do. Basically, because like you get Anthony Davis, you try to pair him with this, in quotations, electric guard, playmaking, whatever, with a bunch of wings at a top prospect. And
number one pick at the 4. Like, yeah, you
compete. That's basically what they're trying to do. Is like they had Kyrie AD, maybe that Trae Young AD, add AJ Cooper, whatever the case may be. It just looked like the plan was trying to work. They trying to follow that same model.
Yeah, the reason I'm okay with it is because, bro, the Wizards have sucked for like decades. Like that, it's been that long since the Wizards have been good. So I have no problems with them like now wanting to say, you know what, we got Sar. I think AD and Sar are a good fit together. I think Sar is good enough, like mobility wise, like on the perimeter where he can comfortably play the 4. I think defensively, I mean, those two together is like it's going to be hard to score on that front court. And then you got, like you said, young guys up and coming, like Keyshawn George has been hooping. You got guy you just drafted who's supposed to be a Teeth guy, Trey Johnson, who he didn't even mention there.
Definitely is.
So you got pieces, and they're hoping that they get either AJ or DP. That's because it's clear like that's where they got, the spot on the roster. Keyshawn can really either play the 2 or the 3 because he's like 6'7", 6'8". And so they're hoping they get one of those two. And then you got a team that they're assuming health, they're a playoff team next season. Like, and that's like you can say what you want about you might stunt guys' growth. I don't really think Sar's growth will be stunted a lot because I don't think he has a high ceiling as is. I just don't like he's had a great season, but I think his ceiling is capped as a player personally. And
I don't think those players' growth gets stunted by like Trae Young or AD. I think the top pick that comes in will probably stunt everybody else's growth more.
It's like the Keyshawn, the trade, like Trey Johnson, his growth, like
I don't care. I'm not going to care about Keyshawn George anymore if I have AJ on my roster. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Trey Johnson. I don't care about Trey Johnson if I got DP. Not that I don't care, but
they're secondary.
You know what I'm saying? That's you 6th, 7th, 8th man up now. You know what I'm saying? So like, the development is cool, but if you just stay where you at, I'm fine with it. You know what I'm saying? And like you said in the beginning, I don't think every team on October 31st is like, we're going to win the finals this year. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just unrealistic. If you've been bad for 20 years, you can't just keep firing and hiring and then firing and hiring and drafting and trading, sometimes you just got to go out there, try to win first, make it look good, dress it up, and then start to make your pivots because you're going to lose your job. You keep trying to look get the perfect draft pick and things like that. I think same thing with the Jazz. I think they feel a little bit more pressure. Like how many years they going to keep Will Hardy, who's a good coach, and watch Danny Ainge in the building if they don't start winning games and making the playoffs. Like you can't just stay around for 10 years.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about building like a culture of winning, especially with young guys, where it's like, you go from just losing. Like it's not getting like winning games and making the playoffs, getting playoff experience. I think all that stuff is valuable too. So I like it for the Wizards. For the Mavs, it's you got what you could get. You literally can't think about the Luka trade. What's done is done. Like you can't live in the past. It's
all about flag.
Yeah, you got flag. You're gonna get a top pick in this draft. We'll see. I mean, maybe they get lottery luck twice in a year, 2 years in a row.
Plus, they getting a bad OKC pick, but you're still getting 2 first-round picks in the same draft.
You'll be able to get somebody. Yeah,
maybe a bench player and a very quality starter out this. You know what I'm saying? That's what they needed, and they dumped salary.
I forgot about the Mavericks part of this, man. I mean, all I gotta say is like this Luka trade aged extremely poorly, and it didn't take long at all. They literally, the person they traded him for is not even on the team 12 months later. That is ridiculous. But they shot themselves in the foot. Then they fired Nico, and then now at this point it's just about building around flag, like you guys said, and trying to undo what you did in that move. But I think that flag has gave Mavericks fans some solace with how good, especially he's been lately. Yeah, he's been really good like last 2 weeks or so. So that'll be all right. Let's move on to another very, very shocking move in the trade deadline sequence. The Jazz at Triple J, they're already really big front court. This is very shocking to me. I didn't know the Jazz were buying at the deadline this year. Also didn't know that. I didn't really think that Triple J was getting traded this year. If anybody's gonna get traded,
I thought he was getting traded. I just didn't think he was getting to the Jazz. I thought it'd be like a contender or semi-contender.
I was thinking maybe the Pacers, and they would try to like work that out. But
yeah. I thought it would probably be Ja, who stayed safe at least for the rest of this year. Probably gonna move him in the offseason.
Last man standing.
So we'll talk about Memphis' future, and we'll also talk about the Jazz. How did you feel about this move? Because I know you had some thoughts about it, KD. Adding Triple J to this roster with Walker Kessler and Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I didn't think they were going to keep Walker Kessler at first when they did it, but now after the recent reports that they turned down 2 first-round picks for him from the Pacers, it's clear they are. That makes it much more of a head-scratcher for me because I don't see Lauri at the 3 working in a long-term capacity. I just don't see it. This is very much an NBA where you have to get out and run in transition, and if you can't, you're going to get left behind as a team. Like you see what OKC does at teams. That's because they defend and then they just run and get out in transition. They're fast, they're athletic, and you're talking about going out there on the floor with 3 guys who are slow as shit. Like genuinely, like Triple J is the most athletic of the bunch, and he's not. Yeah, exactly. Like it's not. Like it's just not something I see as being sustainable. But I also see the other side of it where Triple J at the 5 doesn't work. So, but if it were up to me, it would be Triple J at the 5, and you're filling in that 3 spot with a guy who can really rebound and is like athletic and can defend. Maybe a Caleb Wilson. I don't know. I'm not high on Caleb Wilson, but I can see the Jazz thinking that that's a good decision. But yeah, it's a head scratcher for me, for them, because they're not the same as the Wizards, where it's like, yeah, we've been bad for 20 years. The Jazz were just like a number 1 seed, not even 10 years ago. Like was it this decade?
Yeah, that was like 2020.
In the 2020s, they were a number 1 seed. So like I don't understand them trying to rush into this Triple J Lauri era. Like, yeah, you got Keontae George, who's been great, but it's not. The West is like a dogfight, so it's not. There's nothing they can do. It doesn't matter if the Jazz get a top pick in this draft; they're getting washed by the top teams in the West. Like, and it's. I don't even think there's a debate to be had there compared to the Wizards, where they get a top pick. They can compete off rip in the East. Like the East is not that good, so it's just overall different. But I don't know. The way they just decided to hold on to Lauri this long, like I guess it makes some sense, but them keeping Walker Kessler is still kind of puzzling to me. And I think they'd have been better I would have said yes to those 2 firsts from the Pacers, and I would have been looking to like get a legit 3 who can play next to Triple J and Laurie and go from there.
Were you a fan of this move for the Jazz?
At first, and 2022, they was like a game away from the conference finals. By the way, I went to just go check the Jazz. I was at first. Not that I got caught up in like name value and things like that, but like I said, a losing team trying to win some games, looking like clocks is ticking. When I evaluated, I forgot that Lauri Markkanen was on the team. And in my head, when I think a player should be traded, I just automatically operate as if they're not on the team. Like I operate with the Bucks as if Giannis is not there because I know he's not gonna be there, so it doesn't really matter to include him in any plans. So I'm just thinking Lauri now. I'm like, oh, that's cool. They had a top pick to this core. You got Walker, Triple J. If Keontae George is real, you give him a year with a real team to figure out if you're really gonna pay him big money or not, and try to win some games. I thought they could do that. Obviously, Triple J is a good player. Walker Kessler, when healthy, is a solid player. But then as you dive into it, the fit just doesn't work. So I'm kind of confused on what they got going on. But we'll know what it's like, what it will look like, later on once you add a draft pick, maybe a free agency or a trade sometime in the summer. But as of right now, they still look like they're capped out, like right outside the play-in, or maybe in the play-in, but maybe lose like at best. Like there's no like real like progression there for me. I don't think Triple J like moves the needle that much. Defense maybe get better, but in transition, you're garbage. You can give up points like that. You could lose points in an offensive possession like that. So I don't really know what they got going on, or what's really the next direction.
Yeah, what's the vision? Like that's what I just like to ask.
I thought I knew the vision when I immediately, but it's like I don't see it anymore, and I still got to evaluate what the rest of the West look like. Even Memphis, the team that they traded with, I still kind of believe more in their future just because they have more assets to like within the next. They got like 14 picks.
Yeah, and they got legit young guys too.
And they gotta if the experiment fails or whatever the case may be, and they still bottom out 2027. You gave up next year's draft pick to the Grizzlies when they're gonna have their own draft pick, and they're gonna have either a Magic draft pick or a Sun draft. I don't know what draft pick they have 3 draft picks in the same draft next year. So Memphis itself, they
draft well. They're like
and whatever they get for Ja when they move over him, now they still look like they have a brighter future because they add in even more impact players to their route. So I'm kind of perplexed on what they got going on.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think that Utah really backed themselves into a corner a little bit with this move, not because of what they gave up to get Triple J. It wasn't much, to be honest, whatsoever. I think that 2031 pick can be somewhat valuable from the Suns. I think, well, not the Suns. They have.
I think they got the Timberwolves.
No, that's the Spurs got Timberwolves 2031 pick. That was Dillingham. Yeah. My God. Anyway, but
franchise crippling trade.
Honestly, it was. But they kind of backed themselves into a corner where they have to get a blue chip talent in this draft. And you could argue they were in that position anyways, but when they were in that position, they also didn't have a insanely expensive front court like they're going to have going forward. They keep Walker Kessler, Jaren Jackson Jr.
Like they turned down 2 firsts. They're paying whatever it takes to keep them.
They're probably keeping Walker Kessler. They're probably keeping not probably keeping Jaren Jackson. They have Jaren Jackson. They have Lauri Markkanen. That's going to be a $100+ million front court. Keontae George is having a career year. He's probably going to want to get paid. If you put him anywhere close to the max, that's going to be extremely
all projections, they're spending 25 million in their front court alone.
Yeah. That's going to be an extremely expensive starting lineup. That's also not going to be good enough to actually compete for anything super serious. It's like we don't know who they're going to get in the 2026 draft yet, but just those 4 players, Keontae, Walker, Lauri, and Jaren Jackson, that lineup is devoid of playmaking. Like, it's devoid of playmaking. Like, Keontae has improved as a passer throughout his career, but Triple J cannot pass. Walker Kessler cannot pass. Lauri Markkanen cannot pass. So you're really looking for a 2 to provide defense in the backcourt and playmaking because the rest of your lineup is devoid of it. Not only that, Lauri Markkanen is essentially a wing, a jumbo wing. Jaren Jackson Jr. is essentially a jumbo wing who cannot. Both of them guys cannot rebound. Both of them guys cannot pass. Triple J is a skeptical shooter. Like, it's streaky for him. So the spacing could potentially be a problem. The playmaking could be
the spacing I don't think is going to be a problem.
I mean, yeah, because Lauri can really shoot it, but Triple J is like his
shooting is sketchy. But
I think I really want to index on none of those 2 players in your front court, or none of the 3 players in your front court are good at putting the ball on the ground either. Like, it's like I don't know. Triple J, not a good rebounder. Lauri, not a great rebounder. They also cannot put the ball on the floor. Like, it's too many overlapping weaknesses. Like,
Jaren Jackson Jr. is under contract until 2030, 5 years, $240 million.
Like, the fit is questionable in my opinion. It's very expensive, and if they do not get a premium talent in this class, it is going to get very dark. Like, they have to hit on this draft pick, especially because 2027 is not a great draft. We know that right now, probably. If they can get DP or AJ, I like it because I think AJ can play the 2. I think DP obviously can play the 2. And that'll add an influx of at least scoring talent, more spacing, athleticism. I think regardless, like, I think the lineup is still going to be very, very low in playmaking. Even if they drive DP or AJ, like it is. Low key, like, Kingston Flemings would be an ideal backcourt partner for Keontae because he can defend, he can play make. He's not a terrible shooter. So
yeah, but I agree. I think he'd be a good backmate fit wise, but like in terms of just overall talent, I don't know that he's talented enough.
Yeah, he's just not the fit seemed cool, but you need DP.
You need a guy with this team.
Exactly. If you want to compete it out. So if you got to move Lauri, or you got to move like whatever the case may be, then you do those type of little exchanges instead of like, and you just take the guy.
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing for the Jazz is it's not like they got guys that aren't movable. Like it's not like Anthony Davis is probably not really like he'll be tradable, but you're not going to get any value back for him. You can still get value for Triple J trading him in 2 years. Same with Lauri. Like you'll still get value.
He's still on his roster. Like 16 months ago, he was looked at as a blue chip prospect. Obviously, I don't think he's that anymore, but you still got the Ace Bailey factor of it all. Like,
what does this do for Ace? What does this do for Ace Bailey's development? Now that
Cody Williams.
Like, I don't know what it does for Ace. If Lauri's at a 3, Triple J at the 4, Walker Kessler at the 5, Ace Bailey cannot play the 2, unless they're gonna just go on some super like.
They're just gonna bring him off the bench.
They could not. I mean, I'm not putting anything past Will Hardy. He's done some crazy lineups, so I think that they could put Ace at the 2. But again, the lineup will be very, very like.
I'm not. He won't be at the 2 next year. Whoever Ace is not starting over. It would take them having like a really shit lottery luck because he's not going to start over any of the top guys in the lottery. He's not going to start over like Kingston if they get him. So it would take them having really shit lottery luck for Ace to be starting at the 2.
I'm very comfortable where I had him on my big boy, bro. I'm very comfortable. But
I think his floor is like Rui Hachimura, and I still think that's where he plays.
Let's talk about the Grizzlies because they look to be heading towards an actual rebuild. John Morant survived the deadline, but it looks he's going to be getting. I guess you take pride in that.
We not Trae Young. We not Darius Garland. That's all I'm gonna say.
I guess. What's next for the Grizzlies? They've got 8 first-round picks for their 2 best players. So bro,
it's crazy. It's actually crazy to think that the Grizzlies got 8 first-round picks for the second and third best player of a team that never even made it out like the second round in the playoffs. Like, that's nuts to think about.
What's next for the Grizzlies? Obviously, they're going to the rebuild. They've been one of the best drafting teams over the last like decade. So, what's next for them? What y'all think?
They literally rebuilding. Obviously, you moved Ja. They already recouped. Like, if we would have did this 3 years ago, we would have talked about this 3 years ago, Ja Morant probably would have been the dude that cost you the 4 first-round picks. Maybe Triple J would have cost you the same 3 he got, and Desmond Bain maybe would have been like 2. You know what I'm saying? That's what's that, like 9? You know what I'm saying? They got about they're gonna get about the same thing anyway. So for all the 3 best players, they're getting about 9 first-round picks, maybe 2 solid, maybe 3 solid like rotation players, starters, quality starter, and probably like a Tyler Hero or something just to give you a scoring punch, whatever the case may be. You got 8 tries, especially in the upcoming. You got 8 tries to build a roster that can compete within like the next 3 years, and you got a lot of avenues to do it. You already got a nice little cool piece in Cedric Howard. You know what I'm saying? At that point, you just build on them. It's hard for me to envision Memphis, the way they draft and develop, to miss on 8 first-round picks. It's not a complete science. Maybe of those 8, if they hit on 3 of them, it's a win for me. It's a win for them as long as they have the right upside and things like that. They pulled the trigger when they need to pull the trigger, maybe a year too late, but they got it done. They still recouped a decent amount of value, and I think they're cool to look towards the future from here on out. Things might be rocky for the rest of the year with Ja, but in there they probably not thinking, oh, we're not gonna be there past the summer anyway, so let's just finish this year and get it over with.
I think the Memphis Grizzlies are a cautionary tale about your window is not as open as you think it is. 3 seasons ago, this was like the up and coming team. They were good vibes. They were good vibes, dancing, all around. You know, they had great continuity. They were fine in the West. All this type of stuff, and then 3 seasons later, their entire core is basically going. Ja Morant is not worth anything on the open market, basically. And now they're in a full rebuild. So I think that they're a cautionary tale on how fast things can change. You must maximize your window. You must make the right decisions, make the right process. Like, this team has been an excellent drafting team, finding diamonds in the rough. And as a small market organization, that is something you have to do. And yet, because Ja Morant hit a ceiling as a player, and Ja Morant couldn't stay healthy, and Ja Morant had stuff off the floor, and Triple J probably isn't good enough to be your second best player on the championship team, you hit a wall, and you hit a wall over and over, and now we're here. So I think the Grizzlies are just a cautionary tale about you damn near have to go all in as soon as possible and not take for granted how long your window is. Thankfully, they didn't do the Mikal Bridges trade, but yeah,
they tried. I mean, they tried KD. Yeah, didn't go through. Like, they offered up for KD, which at that time probably would have been better for him instead of going to the Suns. Tried Jimmy. Jimmy Butler said no, but they dodged a bullet with that one. Tried Paul George at a time, which I thought that would have been perfect 2 years. Paul George 2 years ago on that exact Memphis team would have been beautiful because they were just missing that small forward, that 6'8", 6'9" dude. They just didn't have that. But yeah, it's a small market thing. Like, ain't nobody trying to go to Memphis. Ain't nobody trying to play in Memphis. Ain't nobody trying to play in Utah. Like, you playing in Utah because you got drafted there, traded there. You ain't like, they asking you want to go to Utah, you saying no. If you ask me that if I want to go to Memphis, I'm saying no. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's, like you said, it comes to the drafting and development. Everything got to be in-house. And if you fail, you fail. It's gonna hit rock bottom because you're not gonna have like any more avenues to get in. You're gonna have to just hit the reset and draft and develop again.
Yeah, I think that if you would have told any Memphis fan 3 years ago that they'll be trying to be back in the lottery again, 3 years later, they would tell you you're crazy. And so I think it's been crazy. KD, you're a Ja fan. This is his team for the time being, at least. What do you think of Memphis' future?
Yeah, I mean, Memphis, I think, has a bright future overall. Like we've talked, they got a lot of picks. They got some really good young players. What they do with Ja, I think Memphis probably at a point now where they have so many assets and young guys and stuff like going forward that I don't think they're really going to care much about what they get back for Ja, which is crazy. But I kind of see, we just saw the Nets waive Cam Thomas. Like it was very much kind of the same thing. It's like, we're not like we didn't get any type of offer for you, and we're just not really worried about your future with us. So we're just kind of going to cut ties. I think that's probably going to be what happens with Ja. But maybe not, because apparently they did have he had like a market. A few different teams were calling on him, and they didn't trade him. So we'll see what happens over summer. I think Memphis, now you very much do enter a rebuild because as much as they have a lot of picks and have some good young guys, they don't have a blue chip. That's one thing they're missing. Maybe they get some lottery luck this year, who knows, which would be crazy. But that's, I think, what they're going to be looking for. I wouldn't even be too shocked if we see them trade up in this draft to try to get a guy they think could be a blue chip. I think of a guy like Kingston Flemings, if they could trade up and get him. Maybe Keaton Wagler. I don't know how it's pronounced. I could see them trying to trade up and get, one of those guys and say, like, we're going to see if this can be our guy. But overall, I think that's what's next for Memphis. They got to figure out who their blue chip guy is going forward because you're just post Ja, like you're completely in the new era. Like you're post that pre-Memphis Big Three era, which crazy enough, the downfall of that was trading Dillon Brooks.
I was just about to say everything changed with Dillon Brooks.
Like letting him walk for nothing. Like when they literally said we're not bringing him back under any and all circumstances, and now he's out there playing at an all-star level for Phoenix. So,
I mean, that's what happens when you disrespect Bron, man. We can't accept that in our locker room. So I don't fault them for not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that disrespect Bron got to get the boot. I'm surprised Jalen Tyson's still on the Cavs. I wouldn't be going for that. I wouldn't be going for
that. All right, let's move on to the Zubac getting traded to the Pacers. The Pacers clearly needed a center this offseason and this year. So they're really building towards when Tyrese Halliburton comes back. This wasn't that shocking, but when I figured out what they gave up to do this, that's when I started to have some questions. So the Pacers traded Benedict Mathurin and a protected first-round pick in 2026 this year, and some more stuff to the Clippers for Zubac. Now, I think we already talked about the Clippers in terms of them like heading towards a rebuild.
Yeah.
But we can talk about this return as well. KD, Benedict Mathurin is one of your guys, I guess. So
that's Zoe, man.
What do you feel about we're not gonna start with the Clippers. We're gonna talk about obviously the more important team, the Pacers. What do you feel about Zubac going to the Pacers and what they gave up to get him, and then what the Clippers could be getting in Benedict Mathurin going forward here?
Yeah, I thought it was an overpay personally by the Pacers. I get it that it tells me that their scouting department has identified the guys in this draft that they want, and for whatever reason, that 5 to 9 range, they must just not be that high on. They must think, it's that specific range of players for them. They're fine with risking it, with gambling, not getting that. And I guess, that got the trade done. Zubac, obviously, he's an elite role man. He's a great defender, all NBA level center defender, all defense level, I should say. It'll be an adjustment for sure for the Pacers. They're not used to having a non-spacing big. That's not how the offense is operated in pretty much at all, because Miles Turner's been there the entire tenure before, obviously how he got hurt.
It did inside out when it was Miles Turner and Sabonis. They just did a lot of elbow pick actions.
Yeah, and and so it's gonna be an adjustment for sure. But at least Zubac is an elite role man. So it's not he's an elite role man in a different way than Turner. Turner was a great role man because his pop ability opened up the role a lot more. Zubac is every single role he will be elite on, whether it's like lob catching or you just hitting him and he's finishing, because he's just a great finisher at the rim. So the defense, they have a much higher ceiling defensively with Zubac than they previously did with Miles Turner. So we're going to see a different style of Pacers team. It's going to be interesting to see, how they look, because again, that 5-out spacing stuff that they had before, now it's might be a little more dicey. Like that, they don't exactly have snipers shooting wise. Like Hallie obviously is a sniper, but Nembhard can be streaky. Neesmith has not shot the ball well this season at all, so you got to wonder how. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, he's still
a different dude.
Yeah, what he did to the Knicks, I mean, that's still that was not like he needed to be drug tested.
Bro, he had a 12-second stretch. It was like a 16-second stretch.
Three. Yeah.
Got the steal, came back, banged the three. They came. I think something happened. And
he hit another one. Yeah, it was nuts. So, but Siakam, obviously, he's a solid shooter, but I wouldn't call him a good one. So, and then Zubac is a non-shooter. So it's going to be interesting to see how they navigate like the spacing dynamics, given what they're used to. But overall, I mean, I don't hate it. I love it for the Clippers. Like you said, they got my guy Benedict Mathurin, who I think can score it like at a super high level efficiently. Can play off the ball, can play on the ball, can play defense when he's locked in. Getting him to lock in is another story. Playmaking isn't there, probably never will be. You just have to kind of accept that. But it's going to be next to Darius Garland, so it's I think that'll be like an interesting tandem, especially because Benny's so athletic. Like you'll see him Garland throwing lobs to Benny. So I think it'll be that in terms of for the Clippers, for a team that doesn't really have assets and you're going into a rebuild. Especially if that Pacers pick falls 5 through 9, I think the Clippers Clippers fans, for like the two of them that exist, have a lot to like be excited about compared to what it looked like before. Like it looked like before that you're just cooked. Like the future was bleak. Now it's like, especially if that pick falls 5 through 9, you got some stuff that you can look forward to.
You want to go to?
You go ahead.
Like you said, my biggest concerns will only be like what it looks like on offense, not exactly the effectiveness of the offense. Because I think when you have good enough players, you can figure it out. Especially you got Rick Carlisle, who's like one of the better coaches in this league, has been for years now. You named everything Zubac's good at, screening, defending, rolling, whatever the case may be. Don't got to throw the line. You hit him above the cylinder, he gonna finish. So I'm not really worried about that. I think things may be a little bit slower, but since he adds a better defensive element, he's able to rebound, close out possessions. Where you lack in like speeding up the game on offense and getting your opponent tired, whatever the case may be, having them run, you could probably have a little bit better defense. You know what I'm saying? So that you don't have to run the offense like that and try to like always like outgun, outshoot, outscore. Because Zubac should be able to close out possessions by himself, along with Pascal here and there. Got your Nembhard here and there. Neesmith. These players, they're not like great defenders, but they do their job. They're in the spots. If you get lucky and you get that, your pick lands 1 through 4, or after that, you add another prospect to the team, hopefully to fill the hole. If it's not like pause, if it's not like the top picks, whatever, I think that slots in perfectly. After that, you're looking for a clean fit. Usually you get that around 8, 9, 10, you can find something that can fit into what you're trying to do. So I'm cool with the Pacers. The Pacers, even without thinking about giving up that pick that could be valuable if they lost it in 5 through 9, even without thinking about that, I think they're still set up fine for next year. Just adding Zubac, I don't really care about the betting thing because they have a bunch of other like players to fill that spot. And like you said, we talked about the Clippers. Basically, get two young in the backcourt, get a potential pick, okay, add to your roster, and you have something to look forward to. Hopefully. Like you said, you got off money. Either way, another kind of win-win trade. I think the Clippers made out a win. The Pacers made out a win. They filled the hole that they needed and they got better.
I think Zubac is a great player. I think last year he was an All NBA caliber player. Last season, it does feel a little bit. I think it's obviously a very risky move. I think this draft is extremely talented, and you got blessed by the Pelicans' stupidity, and were able to get your draft pick back in this class last season. And I understand how great Zubac is as a center, but I feel like maybe there was a way you could have did this without involving the 2026 pick. Now, if it falls outside of the top 4 and it's like 5 or whatever, there's still a lot of great players in this draft where you can still add to this young core while still competing. So it's a little pricey, but Zubac could be worth it in terms of them trying to compete for a championship. And a lot of the players outside of that top 4 are pretty much guards, and you're not adding another guard on this team, to be honest, unless it's Darren Peterson. Unless it's Darren Peterson, really. Like everybody else, really don't. I said guards.
Yeah, you said outside the top 4, they're all guards.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I don't think Jaden Quaidness is regarded as a top 5 pick anymore because of his injury. But I feel like I guess their thought process is that, like you said, they're not high, or they don't think that anyone outside of the top 4 will be able to impact the game immediately or help them win a championship anytime soon. So I guess they're also saying, like, okay, we get somebody outside in the top 10 as well, like they get 10, 11, 12. I think that's very, very little possibility at this point, though. It's going to be somewhere in like the top 7 or 8 or whatever, because of their record. So I think it's a risky move. But for the Clippers, because they are so devoid of assets and future picks, this is an excellent move for them. Zubac is a great player, but after James Harden basically requested a trade, it was a domino effect. Like at that point, your season was pretty much over. He's been extremely impactful for the team. So why not recoup some assets while you can for the players that you have on the roster, and trading Zubac for potentially a pick from 5 to 9. I think that's great value for Zubac, and that could be if the Clippers hit on the pick, they can get their rebuild started with a promising young talent. So I get it for both sides. I probably lean a little bit more towards the Clippers here on this one, though I do think that Zubac is an incredibly impactful player, and I would probably have the Pacers as my favorites in the East next year, like just projecting them, to be honest.
I actually wonder. I need to see what that pick conveys to if it doesn't fall in the 5 through 9.
2031, unprotected.
2031?
Unprotected.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah. In 2031, the Pacers probably Siakam be long gone, and
that's 5 years from now. Halliburton to be 31.
Yeah, they probably won't be as good. So
you got to see what Boston. I got to see what Boston does in the offseason, based on what pick they got and what they do. I got to see what's going on.
Yeah,
let's move. Go ahead.
No, I would have liked. I personally thought they should have went for Khalil Ware.
I like
the Pacers.
That's a good shout. That's a good shout.
There was talks about. I mean, Khalil Ware. There's been rift with him and like the coaching staff, and he hasn't really gotten a lot of minutes. I think in terms of like fitting what the Pacers were used to, I think he would have been a perfect fit. So, I mean, Zubac defensively, it's not even close between him and Khalil Ware, but I think you probably could have got Khalil for cheaper than what you paid for Zubac.
Much cheaper.
Yeah. So.
All right, let's move on to under the radar moves. Let's talk about some moves that went under the radar and didn't get a lot of conversation. What are some under radar moves you think can really help teams going forward this year and then in the future?
I don't know about in the future, but I think Io to Minnesota is decent. I think it's okay for the simple fact he gets north to south and he defends. Not the guard that they needed, but at least he could provide something, especially in a playoff setting or getting downhill and be able to collapse the defense is very important. Not that he's going to be doing that left and right, but just another little wrinkle to add next to Anthony Edwards. I think is Very cool trade. Obviously, they could have got other avenues. I don't think this is much worse than if they would have got Kobe White in that deal. I think they pretty much was a stalemate in that. So I think that was a decent move. Doesn't move the needle too much, but at least adds another element to their offense.
What you think? What about you, Katie?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few smaller trades that they could work out. Like, it's just I don't know. I feel like a lot of the stuff, it was all big name stuff. Like in terms of like under the radar trades, it's hard to even really point one out outside the IO one that's like, okay, this actually could like meaningfully have impact in a playoff series. Like that's where the Jared McCain one for OKC for me, I don't see that coming to fruition, like really like resulting in anything. The Porzingis trade, I don't see resulting in anything.
McCain not going to win you a playoff series. I think his shooting probably go if he could win you a game or two.
I don't even know because it's like he's such a bad defender that he almost, I don't even want to say like blows up like OKC's defense, but he kind of blows up OKC's defense. Like it goes from a defense that has no holes to like, hold up, we can hunt this guy in a playoff series when he's on the floor. And that's what worries me for McCain because it's like OKC doesn't have any guys on the roster like that. Isaiah Joe's our worst defender, but Isaiah Joe is still a decent defender. Like he's not like he can hold his own. McCain is genuinely awful on that end. So that's where it's like, if he sparks up and he can hit like 7 threes in a game, sure. But I don't know. There's a lot of the like trades that these teams made, like the KP trade out of that one for me is just the Warriors just. I'd have sooner held on to Kuminga if I'm being honest. Like
I mean, they really just would. OKC was just dumping players. Like giving up that the Rockets pick, it's like you've been saying, they don't got the space to be adding draft picks. Like you still got
if that Rockets pick, say it's like 24 in this draft, would you rather have that or Jared McCain?
24 in this draft?
Yeah, because that's probably what it's going to be, that Rockets pick. Like the 24th player in this draft or Jared McCain going forward. Especially taking into account like on a rookie contract. Like
to be honest, I understand what you're trying to say. I gotta see who's there. Like
who's there when it happens. Yeah.
Let's come back and talk about it once the pick is like set, and then I'll hit you like, yeah, I'd rather would have had the first round.
Because like it's some older players that you could draft like I don't even like Richie Saunders. I don't even think is a first round pick. Like I think he's a second round guy, but. Like, is there much of a difference between Richie and Jared McCain in terms of like they're both you're getting it for shooting, really? That's what it is. So it's like, but Richie will be on a rookie contract for 2 more years. So
Richie is going to be a better defender than him.
Yeah, like I get it. Like,
so it's like, would you rather have Richie on a rookie contract for an extra 2 years or Jared McCain? And that's not even including the seconds or whatever, but. I'm just looking at literally those 2 players. Like,
yeah, in terms of money, it makes sense because, like,
especially for OKC money wise.
Yeah, you just recouping players, and like the thing is, they're not good picks, and they're always going to be at the back end. I'm not looking for a SGA, Chet, or a J Dub with my first round picks now that I'm OKC. I'm looking for the Isaiah Joes and the Aaron Wiggins replacements, so that way I can just recoup those and keep them cheap because I'm already paying 3-4 guys, excess amount of money. So that's why I'm cool with keeping the picks because I just got it. I got iHeart. Let me use a pick Thomas Sorber so I can get rid of iHeart and not pay him no more. And I'm paying Thomas Sorber $10 million. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the only reason for me to be keeping the picks because you just got to keep trying to save the money.
Not bad. Got hungry, but my under radar move, and it's not that under the radar, but. Kobe White.
Stop, bro.
It's not under the radar, or are you saying you don't like it?
No, I don't like it.
It's like
you're a Colin Sexton guy. Now, I think Kobe White is probably overrated by the consensus, like how people view him. Like, but I think he fits well with the Hornets. Like, they like to play fast. They like to shoot a lot of threes. And he shoots a meaningful amount of threes more than Colin Sexton. So he
don't make them.
Historically, I mean, he's a good shooter. Kobe is a good shooter. Let me see.
I don't know what he's shooting this year, but
Kobe, he's streaky. He'll have a month where he's a good 30.
Yeah.
He's at 37% for his career on. Let's see his 3-point rate. A 53-point rate historically. So he shoots a lot of threes and he makes them at a good enough clip.
What's he shooting this year? Or what did he shoot last year?
This year, he is shooting 35% from three. Last from three.
I mean, it makes sense, like you said, from the 3-point shooting, but it's not like they gave up. What else did they? I mean, they gave up like assets to get him, which it doesn't make sense to me because I think him and Colin Sexton is a wash. Like,
probably. We talked about it, but I think the Keon Ellis move can really help a playoff team. That's a move that can help a playoff team. Keon Ellis with his defense for the Cavs specifically, they needed 3-point shooting, and Dennis Schroeder. If Dennis Schroeder can get back to the Pistons Dennis Schroeder we saw last year, the Nets Dennis Schroeder that we saw last year, if he can get back to the Pistons or the Nets Dennis Schroeder, even like some of the Lakers Dennis Schroeder, that's gonna be
every other year.
Yeah, like that's gonna be very impactful for the Cavaliers who have been desperately missing Ty Jerome this year in a different way where he's gonna be playing scrappy defense. He's gonna create paint touches, get others involved. So I think mostly the Cavaliers, Keon Ellis, and Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder moves are going to be some of the most underlooked moves that actually have impacts on playoff teams. Let's wrap this up with winners and losers. Just give me one of each. Who was your biggest winner of the NBA trade deadline? Q.
Biggest winner? Probably say the Cavs.
It was. Yes, it was.
Loser for the third year in a row, Chicago Bulls. They started the year with 6 guards. They're ending the year with 6 guards. Last year they had 6 guards and they had to pay 3 of them. They paid them. This year they got 6 guards and they have to pay 3 of them. Like it's the same exact thing over again because you got to pay Ivy. Like you got to pay Ivy. You got to do something. You got to pay. Not that you got to pay Ivy, not that you got to pay Simons, but they need contracts. You know what I'm saying? You just gave Giddey money. I think they still got Trey Jones on the roster, and there's one other guard on the roster. My bad.
Rob.
Rob. So like,
I'm looking at
what we doing? Like, the Bulls are gonna lose every year until they go from 6 guards to like 4. And go from winning 39 games to winning 12.
Yeah. Katie, who's your winners and losers of the trade deadline?
Winners. It's tough. I think I would probably go Clippers because given the context of like the relationship with Harden, like it was clearly, it was a mutual, like, yeah, as good as we've been, we got to move on type of thing. And I think given that, I think they made a really good pivot with the Zubac trade as well. And so between those two, I think as a Clippers fan, again, like for the two of them that exist, you can look at this and say, you know what, it's not too bad. Like our future isn't too bleak. So for that, I think I call the Clippers the winners. Losers, Pistons. It's got to be the Pistons. The East, especially when you see the Cavs just got significantly better, like Latif you were just saying, and Q said they were the winners, and you do nothing. Like the Cavs are now the favorites to come out the East. Like whereas before there probably wasn't a favorite with the way the Knicks were playing. Now I think the Cavs should be the favorite, even though the Knicks have been kind of decent recently. I still, with these moves, I think it should be the Cavs. And yeah, the Pistons, despite, number one, like anybody who actually watches the Pistons knows that this is not like a team that is built for the playoffs to like make a deep playoff run. They needed to do something and they didn't do anything. So Losers.
Pick up Cam Thomas, get a scoring punch. Hopefully that changes a little bit of something.
But they don't get credit for that. Like lucking into Cam Thomas getting waived. Like it's like
I understand the idea of like wanting to stay pat, stay true, not waste your assets and things like that for a star that may not add the value, may not like be like. I understand not wanting to go out and trade 5 first-round picks with Devin Booker and then have to, you're paying him $70 million. I understand that. But that may not be the average. You could have got half the value and still been in a better spot like of a Devin Booker just because you needed something. Like it needed to be some type of extra scoring punch for the cheap just to add to the roster. This obviously the record is cool because in most sports having a great defense gives you a solid floor through regular season games through 82 to just be very good. When things get intense, a star ain't helping you, game. I'm sorry. Like it just, and then K gonna be in hell, gonna get blitzed every time, every possession. It's not gonna look good.
No, I agree. I think that when you have this window, like we talked about earlier with the Grizzlies, when you have this window, especially in the East where it's wide open, the Celtics are pretty much. They're not out of the picture, but they're not at full strength. The Pacers are not at full strength. You have to capitalize on being the number 1 seed. And we talked about it in the last video where we talked about teams that need to make a move, and somehow we forgot the Pistons. So I'm glad KD6 brought it up, bro. But like they didn't do anything of significance. They traded Ivy, but like I guess
this would have been the year. If they would have pulled off like I know said the name. If they would have just pulled off a Devin Booker trade, like say they just added Devin Booker like 2 weeks ago, it would have been a totally different outlook. I wouldn't have been clamoring, damn, 5 first-round pick, because it's like this year we probably really could do something. Like you really could do something in this climate before like the Keon Ellis moves and things like that. You just Cade and D-Book, the way the landscape of the East was set up before this week, you would have thought, yeah, they got it. They going Eastern Conference Finals, whatever the case may be, and they would have duked it out with, let's call it the Knicks for a chance to go to the finals. But now it's.
Yeah, I think like staying complacent, staying stagnant with the team, even if they're like the number 1 seed in the East, when you have a clear flaws, like being one of the worst shooting teams in the NBA, you have to try to improve on that in the deadline. And there were reports that they weren't being that aggressive on calls, and that's insane. That's true. Like that's ridiculous. Like you can't, as the number 1 seed in the East, with a chance to go to the championship in the wide open East, you have to try to change the framework of your team as much as you can at the deadline when you see a clear weakness. Like, I know Trey Murphy and stuff like that wasn't available, but like,
there's definitely guys you could have called on. Like
they weren't getting 4 first-round picks for Trey, bro.
Yeah.
They just needed shooters. They needed not just shooters, secondary creation, other ball handling. That's why if they get Cam Thomas. I don't think he's like a great player, but I think I'm in support of that because Cam Thomas is actually
every team should try to get Cam. It's literally that he's way too talented.
I thought that would have been a good spot. Like if the Clippers really was gonna like do some shit and like really like just go full out, I would have. If I was a Pistons, I would have do a 1st-round pick at Kawhi. Like yo, here, take this first for Kawhi. It don't matter which.
Or Kyrie, like the Mavericks are clearly not. The Mavericks are clearly.
It doesn't even have to be. It doesn't even have to be, bro. Io, like, I know the Wolves kind of gave up a decent amount for Io, but it's like if I'm the Pistons, like that's a guy who also plays solid defense, like, but he has been knocked down his threes. He can actually put the ball on the floor. Like, it's another guy that was out there that you could have gotten. It would have been instant, like. Good, not necessarily like impact, but it would have been an upgrade, at least somewhat from what you got now.
Try too hard because you don't want to like go too much in a high end, but you also don't want to go like, but you don't want to like go for like a middle end player because you also worried about like fan value of like what would the fan think of this move in terms of like based on like what you gave up, who you're getting, did you get them, how'd you get them, like all that thing kind of matter. And I think they scared to like. Spend like the wrong assets on the wrong player and then it blows up in their face. But I don't think you should operate like that, like at all times, because sometimes you just got to pull the trigger and make a move.
Would y'all have traded for Triple J if you were Detroit for what he costs?
Not for I said I'd like Triple JJ just because of the Jalen Duren situation, but he doesn't fix what I need him to do, like what I need my Pacers to.
For the Pistons, yeah.
I'm cool with the player. I've said it many times. Like I need somebody to go get a bucket. I don't necessarily need you to do all the other things, and that's why I'd be fine with Zach LaVine or a Zach LaVine mold of player, Cam Thomas, because I just need you to go get 20 by yourself. That's just all I need you to do. And if you can do that, we could be fine because the defense going to do the rest, and Cade is still here. So.
Speaking of Zach LaVine, I think the Kings are one of the biggest losers of the deadline.
Yeah.
They still have DeMar DeRozan, DeMontis Sabonis, Zach LaVine on the roster. Like, what are y'all doing?
And they clearly lost that DeAndre Hunter trade. Like,
so Wizards pivoted from wanting Sabonis to getting Anthony Davis. And for whatever you may think about Anthony Davis and how they got there, that's still better than getting DeMontis Sabonis.
And they added DeAndre Hunter, another scorer, to this roster. Like, the Kings are they're literally closing their eyes and pressing buttons. That's how they run their organization. Like, they're a nuts franchise. Like,
get bought out.
Literally one of the worst ran organizations in all of sports. So I think that the Kings are one of the biggest losers, if not the biggest losers.
They probably are the biggest. Not even probably. They are the biggest.
That's who's going to be a Piston. Tomorrow on a buyout.
I don't want that. I'm not gonna lie. Another loser, I think the Warriors. Like, your goal was to like try to. Well, I mean, they were in a tough position with
it's tough. Yeah. They can't really be losers because Jimmy turns ACL. I mean, the season's lost anyways.
If like on some like this is like the biggest if they can get healthy next year, like low key, they're gonna be a solid team. Like, like, huh?
Ain't Kristaps expiring? This is the last year of his
Yeah, I mean, I would assume they're gonna
bring him back for cheap.
I would assume they resign him. I don't think they just traded Jonathan. I mean, like Jonathan Kuminga not like a crazy asset, but I wouldn't trade Jonathan Kuminga if I'm not resigning Kristaps at all. Kristaps is really back. Hold
on. What is let me see this Curry contract, bro.
It ends after next year.
Yeah, bro. I'm not signing nobody, bro. I'm all the money off the books. I don't want
You can sign him to a 1 year deal.
1 year deal, but essentially, I wanted everybody going except for Steph. Yo, bro, you end the year here, Warrior for life. You either retire or go play somewhere for like 2 years, whatever the case may be. But I'm not signing back no bread. Like Jimmy messed it all up for y'all. Ain't nobody told y'all to get. Who told y'all to get him? Nobody told y'all to get Jimmy Butler. Nobody. That was never like should have been a thing. It blew up in your face like it should have because a dude playing that hard for a team like this, and then he played that hard to not even do too much. He was playing hard to not do too much. Then he still got hurt.
You go out there and drop 5, 5, and 5.
Playing his hardest, sweating crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it's whatever. Bad luck though. You can't foresee injury, so I'm not gonna act like I seen that coming. But
that's gonna do it for our NBA trade deadline episode. If anything else happens, big, it's probably not. It's over. So we'll probably be back after the All-Star break with NBA content. We will be predicting the Super Bowl here pretty soon. Probably. Well, we got to record it tomorrow. Actually. Well, we actually probably. I don't know. We're gonna record it. We got to probably put it out by Friday somehow. Tomorrow morning or something like that. But next content you probably gonna see after this is the NFL episode or NFL predictions. So stay tuned for that. I gotta go. So we're gonna go. Love y'all. We out.